Hello dear students, welcome back to our online classes. In my previous lecture, we discussed about production. In today's, we'll continue it with a very important law in production, law of variable proportion. So before knowing this law of variable proportion, we should recall that to produce any commodity, that is man-made goods, can be possible only with the possibility of or coordination of four factors of production. They are land, labor, capital and organization. And mathematically, Y means output. It is a function of R, L, K, O and other factors. These factors can be classified into fixed factors and variable factors. Fixed factor is land. It cannot be altered or changed. It is a natural resource. Whereas variable factors like labor, capital and organization, machine, tools, these are all the variable factors. Any rational producer takes decision regarding the combination of factors of production considering the time factor. Professor Alfred Marshall was the first economist to introduce the time element in the production concept and thus made valuable contribution to price theory. Time period can be divided into very short, short period and long period. Very short period is a period where in this the producer cannot change any factors of production and he is not having sufficient time to make adjustment of the factors of production. And in very short period, demand plays a very important role. Supply remains fixed and demand will determine the price. And in short period, wherein changes can be made in few factors like unskilled labor, raw material, fuel and number of shifts of working and all. During this period, the firm will have fixed factors and variable factors. So in short period, it is a combination of fixed factors and variable factors. So the combination of these two factors is called as law of variable proportion and it is applied in the case of short period. In a long period, it is a period where producer is having sufficient time to make all the changes in factors of production. Here all factors of production are variable and costs are also variable. Production is made on large scale, so the firm will enjoy economies of scale. Economies are nothing but advantages. And opposite of this is diseconomies, means disadvantages. Here the law of returns to scale apply in the long period. So we are going to study these two laws, law of variable proportion which applies in short run and law of returns to scale in long run. Now let's move on to the first and most important law, law of variable proportion or LVP. This law explains the relationship between proportion of fixed input and variable input on one hand and output on the other. In fact, it is the modern form of law of diminishing returns. In short run, if a firm wants to expand its production, it can do so by increasing its variable input, keeping the fixed inputs constant. I'll repeat it. In short run, if the producer wants to increase or expand its production, it can be done so by increasing only its variable input and keeping the fixed inputs constant. Now already studied what is the importance of time in production process. As a result, the proportion between fixed and variable factors gets changed. Such a situation is called the law of variable proportions. This law is based on few assumptions. First one, constant state of technology. It means the technology is assumed to be unchanged. If there is improvement in the technology, then the marginal product may rise instead of diminishing. Second, fixed amount of other factors. There should be some inputs whose quantities remain constant. So, it is only in this way that we can alter the factor proportion and know its effects on output. So, the law does not apply if all factors are proportionately varied. And third assumption is possibility of varying the factor proportion. The law is based upon the possibility of varying the proportions in which the various factors can be combined to produce a product. If they don't do so, the law does not apply if the factors must be used in a fixed proportion to yield a product. So with these three assumptions, we can understand what is this law of variable proportion. If the producer is producing, or if he is trying to produce more or expand the production in short run, he will face, or he determines the three phases. He has to face these three stages of law. The first stage is increasing returns, and second one diminishing returns, and third negative returns. Now we'll see why the producer is going to face these three stages of production. Now in this table we can see the first column tells about land and capital, which we have assumed they are the fixed factors. In the second column, workers or a labor is a variable factor. So when we go on changing the factor proportions, what will have the impact on total product, marginal product and average product. Okay, so in the first column you can see that the land and capital both together, the fixed units is 10, and the workers we are changing or varying. So as we go on increasing the units of labor, you can see that total product is increasing. Similarly, marginal product from second units it is increasing, and average product is also increasing from second unit. So what is this total product? Total product is nothing but the total volume of goods and services produced during a specified period of time. And what is marginal product? The addition to total product by employment of an additional unit of factor. I'll repeat it. Marginal product is nothing but the addition to total product by employing an additional unit of factor. And what is average product? It is the per unit production of the variable factor is known as average product. Now with this, in this table we can see that units of capital and land are fixed, that is 10, whereas units of variable factor, that is labor, is increasing. As we are increasing the variable factors, total product is increasing, but we can see here, or the point to be noted here, that total product is increasing at decreasing rate. Marginal product, initially it's increasing, it starts declining and becomes zero, and at last negative. Then average product, it is also increasing and start declining up to the third stage. And that is the reason why we'll see this initial position of TP, AP and MP is called as increasing returns. And when it becomes start diminishing, it is called decreasing returns. And when the marginal product start experiencing or it becomes negative, it is called negative returns. We'll understand this three stages and what are the causes for the three stages we can understand better with the help of diagram. So in this diagram, on y-axis we are measuring output, that is all TP, AP and MP, and OX-axis amount of variable factors. So only variable factor we have taken. So in this diagram you can see TP goes on increasing, TP goes on increasing. After this point it starts increasing at a decreasing rate, whereas marginal product goes on increasing and start declining, and when it touches x-axis it's 0, and beyond that if the producer is employing the variable factors or additional units of labor, it becomes negative, whereas average product is more consistent compared to the marginal product. It goes on increasing, become constant and start declining. So you can see in this diagram stage 1, which indicates that TP, AP and MP, they all three are increasing, and the F point is called as point of inflection, Then beyond that point you'll find the TP, AP and MP start entering into second stage and further third stage. So you can better understand this diagram with the another diagram where you can see more systematically. First stage, increasing returns. The blue line shows the total product is increasing. Then red line, average product, it is also increasing. And green line, marginal product, it is also increasing. And as the producer go on employing the additional units of labor to the fixed inputs, land and capital, the total product, average product and marginal product start changing. In second stage you can find total product is increasing but at a decreasing rate. Similarly, average product and marginal product start declining. So it is called a diminishing or decreasing returns. In the third stage, when marginal product enters or go beyond the x-axis, it is called negative returns, whereas average product will never become 0 and total product is declining. And when we can point to be noted here, when total product is maximum, marginal product will be 0. So you can see this line, when total product is maximum, marginal product is 0. I hope you understood what are these three stages and what is the relation between TP, AP and MP. In stage 1, total product first increases at increasing rate, then at diminishing rate. First stage increases in the beginning, then reaches a maximum and begins to decrease. Average product first increases, continues to increase and becomes maximum. In stage 2, total product continues to increase at diminishing rate and becomes maximum. Marginal product continues to diminish and becomes equal to 0. Just now I explained, when total product is maximum, marginal product will be 0. Then average product in stage 2 becomes equal to marginal product and then begins to diminish. In stage 3, total product start diminishing. When total product start diminishing, marginal product becomes negative and average product continues to diminish but will always be greater than 0. I hope you understood what is the relation. Now we will move on to the next slide where you will understand what are the reasons or causes for these three stages: increasing, diminishing and negative. Now stage 1 is also called as increasing returns. In this stage, as a variable resource or labor is added to fixed inputs of other resources, the total product increases up to a point at an increasing rate as shown in the figure. Here, the total production from the origin to the point K on the slope of total product curve increases at a increasing rate. And from point K onward, during the stage 2, the total product no doubt goes on rising, but its slope is declining. So, what are the causes of these increasing returns? The phase of increasing returns starts when the quantity of fixed factor is abundant. Point to be noted here. Initially, the fixed factor is abundant related to the quantity of variable factor. As more and more units of variable factors are added to the constant quantity of fixed factor, it is more intensively and effectively used. This causes the production to increase at a rapid rate. Another reason here that the fixed factor initially taken is indivisible. As more units of the variable factor are employed to work on it, output increases due to fuller and effective utilization of the variable factor. Now, stage 2, diminishing returns. Already know in this stage, the total production continues to increase at a diminishing rate until it reaches its maximum point H, where the second stage ends. In this stage, both the marginal product and average product of the variable factor are diminishing, but point to be noted, both are positive. Now, what are the causes for this stage? When the fixed factor becomes inadequate related to the quantity of the variable factor, as more and more units of variable factor are employed, the marginal and average product decline. It means the fixed factor strength will be equivalent to variable factor. In first stage, the strength of fixed factor was more than variable factor. Here, the another reason is the production function is that the fixed indivisible factor is being worked too hard. It is being used in non-optimal proportion with the variable factor. According to a lady economist, Mrs. John Robinson, still goes deeper and says that the diminishing returns occur because the factors of production are imperfect substitutes of one another. Stage 3, negative returns. Here, the total product curve slopes downwards from point H onward. The marginal product curve falls to 0 at point L, and then it becomes negative. Now, what are the causes for this? When the number of variable factor becomes too excessive relative to fixed factors, the variable factor strength is more than fixed factor strength. A producer cannot operate in this stage because the total production declines with the employment of additional labor. Students, you might be knowing that too many cooks spoil the food. Similarly here, with the fixed factors, on that fixed factors, if you go on employing more and more workers or more and more variable factors, it will initially give the positive returns, later on it becomes negative. Now, any rational producer will always seek to produce in stage 2, not even stage 1 and stage 3, but stage 2. Because in stage 2, MP and AP, that is marginal product and average product of the variable factor, are diminishing. At which particular point the producer will decide to produce depends upon the price of the factors he has to pay. The producer will employ the variable factor, we have taken variable factor as labor, up to the point where the marginal product of the labor equals the given wage rate in the labor market. Now, importance of this law. The law of variable proportion has vast general applicability. It is helpful in understanding clearly the process of production. It explains the input-output relations. We can find out by how much the total product will increase as a result of an increase in the inputs. This law also tells that the tendency of diminishing returns is found in all sectors of the economy. Now, how many sectors are there in the economy? 3 sectors: primary sector, secondary sector, and tertiary sector. Primary sector is dealing with agriculture. Secondary sector, industry, manufacturing, all other activities. and service sector. Okay, tertiary sector is service sector, all the types of services. So this law is applicable to all the sectors of the economy, especially to the primary sector, agriculture sector. And that is the reason why in India we find one type of unemployment called as disguised unemployment or unseen, hidden unemployment, where there is a need of only three workers or three agricultural laborers, one piece of land, but there are more than six people working. So this is called disguised unemployment. Next, this law is also important to understand the units of variable factor which lead to increase in the total product at a diminishing rate. The elasticity of substitution of the variable factor for the fixed factor is not infinite. And from this law, we can also understand that there is no hope for raising the standard of living of mankind. The fact, however, is that we can suspend the operation of diminishing returns. That is, at second stage, we can avoid this stage by continually improving the technique of production through the progress in science and technology. We can avoid that negative returns or this third stage by improving the technique of production through the progress or improvement in science and technology and innovation or innovative methods in production. So I hope students you understood the importance of production. बोलते हैं ना कुछ निर्माण करने के लिए, कुछ उत्पादन करने के लिए, कुछ अच्छा करने के लिए बहुत हिम्मत और साहस और बहुत लोगों का साहस और सहायता की ज़रूरत है. इट मीन्स टू प्रोड्यूस, टू मैन्युफैक्चर, टू बिल्ड, to help, to construct, we required the help of lot of production and coordination. But whereas किसी को इंसल्ट करना, किसी का बुरा करना या डिस्ट्रॉय करना, we required very less strength. So to destroy, to insult, to disturb, we required very less strength. So we should appreciate the producer who is putting a lot of efforts and taking huge risk to produce the production with the coordination of all the factors of production. Students, thank you. In next session or next lecture, we'll study this law of variable proportion. It's very important examination point of view and knowledge point of view. We'll see the important parts like TP, AP and MP calculations in the next lecture. Thank you.